Hey guys, and welcome to the TCC podcast, where we discuss everything coffee.
From the tree straight into your cup.
Our heart's desire is to bring you not just coffee knowledge, but the love of coffee through the knowledge. On this podcast, we will be discussing things like coffee species, varieties,
Farms, processing, roasting,
coffee prices, coffee brewing, of course coffee shops,
and then, of course, ratios, which is a very important one, coffee and water, and coffee competitions.
and so on and so on. We want to try and discuss every single thing coffee related. Hey guys, my name is Theo LaRue,
And I'm Stefan Swartz.
and today's topic is coffee
Varieties
varieties
of Arabica,
of yes,
mainly.
the Arabica species.
Yes.
The reason why we'll be speaking mostly on Arabica species varieties is because that's what we have mostly available here in South Africa.
And basically, it's the species that's mostly sold in
the world,
In the
yes.
world, so it's
I
about
think
70 to 80%.
Yeah, 72, I think it's 78 to be kind of,
Oh, okay.
if I can remember correctly, or
So-
68, I don't know, somewhere around
Somewhere
there. So it's mostly sold in the world
Yeah.
for daily consumption,
Yeah.
and it grows fairly wild, and we don't have to make instant coffee with it, because we don't have to roast it very dark. So we
Yeah.
will mention a few Robusta varieties, and we'll mention obviously a few Liberica varieties. But we will be mostly speaking on Arabica varieties,
Yeah.
because that's what we have tasted most.
Yes.
Now, the coffee that we are drinking today is a Arabica species, and it is a Gesha variety grown
Nice.
in Colombia. The coffee is imported and exported, I think they do both, by Sabores Coffee, Sabores, and their slogan is Flavors of Colombia. So it is a Gesha natural carbonic maceration lemongrass lactic acid mosto inoculum. I think that's how you pronounce that.
That's a mouthful.
That's a whole mouthful. It is a private collection, harvested in 2021, grown in the region Calarca, if again I'm pronouncing that Spanish correctly, in the Quindio region. The farmer was Sebastian Ramirez, on the El Placer coffee farm. Again, not 100% certain on that pronunciation. Yes, it is, as I mentioned, a natural process, but for a consisting of 100 hours anaerobic.
Nice.
Light roast coffee, roasted actually I think in Colombia if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay, nice.
So we've been a client of Sabores for a while, and they saw it in their heart to be extremely generous, and they sent us this Gesha as a gift.
Well, that's nice.
Like, how amazing is this, people?
But they also gave you like a nice small toy that has been
Yeah, it's like
crafted.
this,
It's like a wooden.
like a clay. No, it's actually
Clay,
like
it's
a
a
clay car. But
and that was yeah.
yeah, it's more like just something you put in your cabinet in your coffee bar to show other people. Very, very cute.
it's
We'll
very
post
nice.
a photo in the blog.
Yeah.
Very, very adorable. If you guys would like to check them out, really from anywhere in the world, I'm sure Jose would ship anywhere. Is www.sabores.co.za. And their email address is info@sabores.co.za, and their WhatsApp number would be +27 067 4166 722.
Okay.
You can send
Nice.
them a WhatsApp. They do really phenomenal coffees. We've got a coffee from El Piente.
Yeah.
Now, when I say El Piente, I know that kind of means just farm. But we'll probably take out the coffee.
At least you know it means farm. I just like El Piente.
Yes,
Sounds
yeah.
nice.
It's like when someone says this comes from Guatemala, finca, and people are like, finca, which finca? And I'm like, what do you mean finca? And they go, well, finca means farm. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, so we learn.
Again, I don't speak Spanish or Guatemalan, which I don't even know if that's their language.
And that's why we're here, to learn
Exactly.
that well, at least we know a few farm names in different languages.
At least, at least. So, if you have better pronunciations on these words, please be so kind to share it with us.
Yeah.
And the method I'll be making this coffee is a 1-to-3 ratio through a traditional, if you're watching this on YouTube, a traditional Vietnamese method. So this goes over the cup. This little cup goes on top. You throw the coffee inside, and you've got this little cap that you put on top, which you pour on top of. And you pour on a 1-to ratio, 1-to-3 ratio, 1-to-row ratio, on a 1-to-3 ratio, and you just let it drip through, almost like with the soft bloom.
Okay.
Now, normally in Vietnam, they would put condensed milk in the bottom, and their coffee would be mixed kind of with like a cacao powder, which creates this gorgeous condensed milk chocolate coffee flavored coffee.
That's interesting.
Now,
I'm really interested about this because
yeah, I love the method.
I've never done this.
Yeah,
method.
You've actually never tasted this one
Yeah,
before.
no, I haven't. But
It's really interesting.
I've saw it a few times in some videos, but I'm really looking forward to doing this method and tasting the method.
Yes, now I've tasted 2 or 3 coffees through this method. Very interesting method. I have had 2 or 3 coffees which was not nice through this method, to be very honest. So I'm going in 15 grams and I'm going out 42 mils.
Nice.
On a very slow pour.
So
Water is at 89 degrees Celsius.
1-to-3.
1-to-3 ratio, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So while Mr. Stefan shares his personal experience with Varieties with us, I'll be extracting this coffee.
Okay, so personal experience with Varieties. So for me, I just heard a lot about the bourbon from your side. So and I've tasted a few bourbons and
like we've done bourbons from Rwanda, Burundi,
I must say
Uganda.
The bourbons are nice.
Yes.
They're really nice. And
I do love bourbon.
And the nice thing, what I'm also looking forward to is now you said we're gonna get some purple bourbon.
Ooh, the purple bourbon and the orange bourbon.
Oh, we're getting orange also?
Yes, but before we get all of that, we're gonna get a purple caturra.
Ooh. Where are we getting it from?
From Sabores.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome. Thank you, Sabores.
Yes, definitely Sabores. You guys rock.
So I'm actually looking forward to it. And I've with Punjati, I've tasted the Katwai.
Yes, Katwai and also I think SL28 once.
SL28.
I know you definitely have tasted the F6.
The F6, yeah. So the F6 is like you told me now just before we started this. So it's basically a blend or a
cultivation.
Yes.
There hybrid cultivation.
Okay, so from the Mundenovo and the Caturra.
Yes, caturra. Yes, so correct.
I'm making my lines there.
Yeah, he's got his picture here in front of him. He's putting lines.
And that's I've heard about the Mundenovo. So I know these words sounds very strange and Greek. It's not Greek.
I love it.
But for me also, I told him that this is a really confusing still for me. There's so many varieties out there. And there's a lot of cultivations and hybrids and all those kinds of stuff. But I'm looking forward to it because I've seen a few on the shelves.
Yes.
I saw caturras. Actually,
especially in coffee shops, like.
Yeah. I actually drank a caturra before I even met you. I didn't even know it. I just saw it as
what?
It was somewhere. Yeah, no, but I couldn't.
Where though? Oh man, you can't remember where.
No, I know where to get it.
Yes.
It's a shop somewhere in Plettenberg Bay.
Oh, so like I was south of South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I went into a shop and there's like coffees and I'm like,
I love coffee.
Caturra. I'm like, okay, this looks cool.
Well, at least you started on a really phenomenal coffee.
And I drank it through a French press and.
Wow. I bet you love that for that texture, man.
That was nice. I enjoyed it.
No sugar, no milk.
No sugar, no, just like that. And I actually.
Because back then you used to be a milk drinker, so.
Yeah, no, it was without milk. And yeah, sometimes milk and sometimes without milk, but it was already pre-grounded. Because I didn't have grinder. I didn't know that you have to.
Ah,
So unfortunately, so
such a
but
killer of coffee.
that's like my first connection of caturra. So
Oh,
I just
wow.
remember that. I'm like, that's what I had, and so in that time I didn't caturra. What's that?
For
I
me
don't know.
personally, caturra has been the one coffee that's blown my mind when it comes to sweetness in the coffee. It has really been the sweetest coffee that I have experienced anywhere in the world. From all the coffees that I've ever tasted, that thing has really blown my mind.
Okay, so for you it's the okay. Sorry again about the dogs.
Yeah. These dogs.
So caturra for you is more a sweet variety.
Extremely, a lot of sugars, so bricks
that's-
level wise, very, very high.
So that's why you're excited about the purple one.
Oh, and I've roasted a purple caturra myself,
When?
and we cupped it. It was for the bean box for
Oh.
Zander.
Oh.
And
cool. Okay.
yes,
yeah, nice.
I did a.
That's when you guys experimented with they had
Yes,
Truck
with
Roastery.
some of Sabores coffees,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So we had a purple caturra.
Nice.
I went in 165 degrees Celsius into the roaster, obviously cooled it down. I think turning point, if I remember correctly, was about 91. At about 1 minute 52 seconds.
Okay.
Turned around, had a beautiful uprise. I think it came up about 9 minutes. If I remember correctly, I've got the graphs. I go and look at them, but I think it was a 9 minute 30 or 9 minute 40 seconds to roast. Pulled it out. First crack was on 194, and I took it out about a minute and 15 seconds after first crack.
Nice.
Really well caramelized, gorgeous purple grapes, man.
Did I taste it?
No, I don't think you've tasted it yet.
No, I don't think
So
I've tasted
imagine a purple grape champagne.
Oh, nice.
That's what that thing tasted to me like.
Sure.
I was like, woohoo! I need to get some of this purple caturra.
That sounds great. That sounds
so-
really great. So, well, from the graph that I have in front of me, I see it's so basically going back to, so it's basically from the Robusta side, Timor, that is then hybrided to or cultivated to a Catimor. Nice. And then then from, so the Caturra is then from Bourbon and Catimor
Cultivation, yes.
cultivation, if
Correct.
I can say it like that. So sorry guys, I know this sounds funny.
Yeah, there's some
To me, it's
Maragogipe.
also funny because it's a lot of strange things. But in any case, so that's what I'm getting, how the Caturra ended up
Correct.
being cultivated.
Yeah.
So
There's like a
Interesting.
Catimor, Maragogipe, Bourbon type of connection going out to Catuai. Like, so much happening there, man. So much happening there.
too much for my brain at the moment.
So when I got into varieties, the varieties for me, the hardest thing was all of these, Brazilian or Spanish words originating from different little villages in South America, in Africa, in Saudi Arabia, Yemen area.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would take the typica or the bourbon. So
Okay.
in the aspect of varieties, you've
Yes.
got your two species, Robusta, Arabica mostly.
Yeah.
And those two then obviously had their own strings towards like their branching out of
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
And on the Arabica species, I know that there's mainly two varieties that we speak of.
The big
There's
ones.
the typica and there is the bourbon.
Okay.
And those two were, taken and moved into Saudi Arabia, up, into Java,
Yeah.
and into like these little islands, French islands, ending up in different places, and then ending up, which we'll do in the future, a historical or a history half an hour session. So we'll try and break down the coffee history in literally a half an hour, which I don't think is possible.
Yeah.
But
So-
it ended up then cultivating or evolving
Yeah.
in different countries. So
So-
where the changes.
Yeah, so just a quick one that
Yes.
I've saw with, like you said, the Java.
Yes.
So basically Java, everybody's like, oh, you got a mocha Java. So
Yes,
you
a
drink your
chocolate
mocha
flavored.
Java. But what I saw about the Java is it's basically an island where they grew it.
Right, little island
Yeah,
called
and
Java.
So that's where it came from.
Yes.
And so that's interesting. So basically, when it grew there, they moved it to a different country. it developed different.
Yeah, it evolved.
It evolved
into something else with different flavors.
So and that's interesting, and that's so amazing about coffee. One thing for me is
Yes.
when you take one, let's say Java, you take it to different
Regions in the world, or different countries.
countries,
Also. Yes.
and you're just gonna get different flavors from one cultivar.
Exactly. The terroir has so much influence on the coffee itself, where it grows. Yes.
Yeah, so altitude, rainfall, all those kinds of stuff that just influence one cultivar in different regions, different countries. And that's so amazing about coffee. So I think we're never gonna stop getting new coffee, because at the end of the day, if you take one to move it to somewhere else, like move it to South Africa,
exactly,
where the altitude is like 120 meters above sea level.
Right.
I mean,
like literally,
I never read about that.
A kilometer away from the beach.
Yeah, I never read about that altitudes in all the research I've done. But,
exactly.
But I mean, I've tasted coffee from there, like the K.
And it's phenomenal, man.
The F6 and the
Caturra. Remember that Caturra that we that we fermented last year?
Yes.
We did like a 5-day red honey anaerobic. No, we didn't. Under the water. Now I can't even remember the word. Anyway, so it's the one we fermented inside the juices and the waters. Aerobic. Yes. Not aerobic, anaerobic. Yes, inside the water.
Okay.
And so we did a 5-day fermentation. We dried it as a red honey process, which was a Caturra grown 126 to 187 meters above sea level. And we dried it for about 71 days in shade.
Okay.
It tasted like mango, grenadella,
I remember that.
and pineapple candy floss.
That was amazing. I remember that coffee.
So this year I'm going to try and do like a 200 kg batch of it.
That was amazing.
So excited about that coffee. It scored in a whole 83 points.
Oh, nice.
Which, grown at 180 meters above sea level.
Getting a specialty
coffee at that elevation.
That's interesting, because on the research I've done is there's some they say Caturra. Where is that? Caturra is the right altitude for Caturra, where it's best grown, is 1,300 to 1,000 or higher than 1,500 meters above sea level.
Exactly.
And then at Mpanjati, it's under 200 meters above sea level, and I mean the amazing flavors that we got out of it, and that's the main that's so awesome for me, because taking something that's supposed to grow and get the best out of it from 1,300 higher,
and all of a sudden we're growing
taking it
low.
Way low, and you get
outside the coffee belt,
way outside of the coffee belt, and you get such amazing flavors out of it.
Yes,
and that's the amazing thing about coffee.
You know what's the thing that catches me, or that really gets me into it, is you get phenomenal coffees grown in Honduras.
Yeah.
But the one factor that Honduras has always struggled with, especially in Cup of Excellence, is the fact that they are so close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Which means they've got a lot of humidity in the air. Yeah. So there's a lot of, there's high humid elevation, high humid locations. And so when they actually dry the coffee, mold grows like crazy.
Oh, okay.
So they've always had this mold flavor inside a lot of their coffees. Now I know that Lucia, a phenomenal fermentation specialist, she's a microorganism fermentation specialist from America. You guys can check her out on podcast as well. I'll link her down in the description. She actually has been playing around with different other microorganisms that actually eat mold. So she might be able to get us to a point where we can clean up the cup.
That's nice.
At Mpanjati, which is, like we mentioned, 100 meters above sea level, our humidity is very high. But because of the fact that the line that they lay in on the South African contours, if I can call it that, the humidity is lower than Durban and much drier than KZN, which gives us a very nice cleaning or drying process. So it's clean. There's not really a lot of mold that grows in that region during the winter.
So the specific spot where the farm is in Port Edward is actually basically a great spot to grow coffee.
It's perfect for coffee growing.
I mean, and I mean, it's amazing, because when you say we've got coffee from South Africa, then they're like,
Yeah, people are like, what? Does
Is
South
it-
Africa grow coffee?
is it nice? Does
And
it
everybody
taste good?
expects it to
Does
taste horrible.
Yeah, because you don't hear of it.
Mm.
You don't, and that's, I mean, the coffee that I've tasted from Bunjati is great.
Oh, phenomenal.
It's really amazing, and I really like that we are part of them, and that we can go forward and do experiments with them.
Exactly.
And I'm really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, this year now,
This
because
year
we
we're
actually are in
2020.
2020. So, compliments to the season,
Yeah,
people.
compliments.
I know you might be listening to this like
Yeah.
in 2039, going, what the heck? They're in 2022. Like,
Old
wow,
guys.
that's when the COVID-19 pandemic
Yeah.
was on, on the world.
Yeah,
So
yes.
yes, for those of you that don't know, listening to this, yes, we had a pandemic in 2022.
Yeah, still busy.
Yes. So now back onto the varieties. I'm fairly privileged, and I'm going to say this outright because I definitely am, in the sense that I've been looking for a lot of different coffees out there, trying to see if I can taste all the coffees in the world. That was my very first challenge to myself, until I
Nice.
realized that there's 120 to 124 different species, and I was like, not happening.
Species.
Yes.
We only talk about 5.
We only spoke of 5 or 6, yes. So crazy when you think about that. Again, go and check out James Hoffman's video, linked in the previous episode. And on that, I then, when I found out that in the Arabica species there's almost like 3,000 varieties, I was like, okay, let's kind of scale
Sure.
down. Let's leave the species out of this. Let's just go for only varieties.
Okay.
Now, 6.5 years into it, I am very happy to say that I have tasted about 109 different varieties
Oh, nice.
of the Arabica species.
Did you jot them down?
I actually did. Some of the ones that I tasted, of course, is typica, bourbon, katwai, Gesha, Java, kurume, dega, velishu, like wow, what an amazing coffee from Ethiopia, Sava, Kent. I've actually had some Kona from Hawaii.
From Hawaii, okay.
Then I've had
Interesting.
some pacas, I've had pake, I've had harar, I've had Mondenovo, I've had maracatura, I've had pacamare, Blue Mountain, Marago Gipe, Caturra K7, French Mission, Mokar, R11, Castillo, Catimor, and a lot more. So I've actually been
That's
really trying to go out there to experiment with a lot of these different coffees, just to see what is different.
And the different taste and flavors you get out of it.
Right. And it has blown my mind.
Well,
So
that's
much so-
109 for now. And there's
Well,
over
yes.
3,000.
I've still got my life in front of me, man.
We got some tasting to do,
Woo!
man.
You know what's sad? A lot of these coffees we can't even get in South Africa.
Yeah.
Because they sell out to Saudi Arabia or to Dubai, especially right now. My goodness.
Dubai is.
Yeah, like their coffee
the-
culture is
growing.
exploding.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got a friend out there in Dubai right now, Mr. Wilden. He'll be on the podcast as well in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Phenomenal young lad, and he says it is crazy how much coffees they import into Dubai.
If you look at Dubai, they want to be extravagant. They want to be the best and be,
Right, and they got money to
and
throw
be-
around,
yeah,
man.
definitely. So they can
They
get,
buy it out long before we can get it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's a small tree and it's got some nice potential, so we buy it.
Let's buy the whole crop.
Yeah.
And they don't even give the rest of the world chances into tasting some of those coffees.
So any kind
And
of
so
thing,
it's
yeah.
very, very. So I definitely have to go to Dubai to go and taste some coffees there
Definitely.
soon in the future,
That's
as
gonna
soon
be
as
fun.
this C19 thing goes away.
Yeah.
And so for me, on a personal level, just to kind of get into the personal side of it, the one thing that these different varieties has taught me about coffee is how little we know about it. Number
Definitely,
one.
yeah, definitely.
Number two, how little respect we actually have for coffee.
Yeah.
Because we think, it's just a black liquid or a
No.
brown liquid. Now,
so much more.
now I
behind it.
understand the statement black gold.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, my
definitely.
goodness.
No, it's
So much respect.
because there's so much behind the scenes that nobody knows about.
Right.
And I've mentioned it in the first podcast that from farm, all the effort that I put in to grow the coffee, to get the trees, to get the pest out of the way, not to have an effect on the trees, on the crops, and so all that, there's so much behind the scenes that nobody knows. And like you said, how many liters of water? Like
400 liters of water
liters
per
water
cup of coffee.
per cup. So there's so much behind it, and that's why I think why we're doing this. Like I said again, it's to get the value, to get the people to realize the value that's in their cup.
Exactly.
And
value for the money that you pay.
Yeah, and to really realize that if the cup is expensive, according to the people that's buying it, that they must realize why it's expensive.
Exactly.
And why it's value for money.
Right.
Because of all the behind the scenes stuff
Like
that's
the labor
happening.
intensity,
Yeah.
the time that goes in the fermentation, the drying.
So just a little bit off topic, but
yes.
That's really important.
Well,
and,
no, really, actually, that's
well,
why the whole topic. I mean, it's around the whole topic of value.
So
at the end of the day, I feel exactly that way. My love for coffee has grown exponentially because of the fact that I learned strange words. Again,
definitely strange words.
Like Mondo Novo. Mondo Novo is a small little town in Brazil that they have this coffee grown there, for 80 to 100 years, and they go, okay, from now on we call this Mondo Novo. Yeah. And today we take that coffee and we experiment with it and we roast it differently and we create these amazing weird flavors from a little town's name. Yeah. Like, how mind-blowing is it? Now, is that Mondo Novo variety maybe something that is a hybrid between, some typica, some bourbon, and maybe even some, what's the one that came, Timor, that cultivation of Robusta and Arabica coming together, cross-hibernating.
If I look at this, there's some Liberica also in the early stages of cultivation. So it's very interesting, and like you said, like stuff like Maragogipe,
right? Or as they like to pronounce it, Maragogife, which, I mean, thank you. I know we're mispronouncing these words. Again, we don't speak Spanish yet.
Yeah, but like the Maragogipe is like a huge bean. It's like, I'm correct?
Humongous. Yeah. We always speak of the elephant bean.
Yes, the elephant ear.
The elephant ear type of, elephant bean.
Okay.
Elephant ear would be kind of the big coffee bean that breaks out and kind of creates this ear lobe or this ear shaped type. So that would be like an elephant ear type of thing. But the elephant beans, they are humongous. Yeah. And with so much flavor potential inside of them. It's crazy.
Like I've only had pacamare, and the pacamaras are also a huge bean.
Very big.
Because
it comes from the Maragogipe.
Yeah, yes. So it's a cultivar from the Maragogipe.
Yes.
And the pacamaras are nice. I like a pacamara. Some good pacamaras. What's the pacamaras we had?
We have like this La Hermosa farm from Guatemala, which is I can't remember the region off mind, but it's a 17 to 2,000 meters above sea level red honey process. I think dried on African raised beds for 19 days. Sure. And it tastes like Pinotage wine.
Yeah, that's a beautiful coffee.
That's a gorgeous coffee. 1 to 15 V60 straight up, kills it.
Man, that's good. We're going to have to drink it somewhere.
Ah, definitely, on one of these shows. Now, just to kind of jump then into... Now, on this specific topic, we didn't go too much into historical things, because we would be sitting here for the next 5 hours just repeating ourselves endlessly around certain elements, never really saying the same thing twice. Just because there's so much historical thing in this. Definitely. So I'm sure in the future we'll be talking about varieties endlessly. We'll probably choose certain varieties and then break them down historically.
Yes. Yeah.
Just because we're already on a half an hour. So we're going to jump into the 3 questions. Why is this information around varieties important? Again, as we said in the previous episode, or on the previous topic on species, it's important to know what you are drinking.
So at the end of the day, why it's important, it's again, you have to know where your coffee comes from and what type of variety it is, because the type of variety is gonna
define a flavor.
And get you to know what flavor you like.
That's it.
and get the right flavor for your palate.
That's it.
At the end of the day,
Finding out what you like and what you dislike.
And that's the main thing about coffee. There's so much to taste, but to get to what you like, you need to know a bit of the species, the varieties, the history of it, and what it can, what development it can get.
Yeah, what potential it has inside of it. Yes,
the right words of potential. So
I love it.
So and it's important to know the varieties, because each variety's got different flavor notes, got different character, got different whatever you want to.
Well, let's use an
get
example.
Out of it.
Personal experience on that. I've had mocha from 3 different countries. I've had a Brazil, I've had one from the east, from India, and I had a mocha, I think, from Saudi Arabia or somewhere in Ethiopia.
Okay.
I know it was in that region.
Somewhere there, yeah.
And the flavor differences are gigantic. I didn't like the mocha much from India, and I didn't like the mocha much from South America. But the one from like Central Africa, Yemenish, was insane. Chocolate.
So that's basically why they refer to mocha java as a chocolate, or they add the chocolate.
I would
to
guess
the mocha java
to the coffee, yes.
Because, like you said, you
very
got some
chocolatey type of flavor.
So and that's basically, and that's why it's important, because the mocha's main, if I can say it like that, the main characteristic of a mocha is a chocolatey type of
coffee,
flavor.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And I'm not a big guy for dark coffee, dark chocolates.
Yeah, you don't like it. I would like tasted mocha that tastes like the chocolate, because I like dark chocolate.
Of course you do.
And the thing is that's why it's important, because each different variety's got a different flavor note, different flavor. It depends on where they grow it.
Exactly.
And
which answers.
And it changes.
Exactly. It changes.
It changes from country to region to
elevation, to water,
all
to
of those things.
All of those
and that's why it's so amazing, and that's why it's important.
Exactly. And that actually answers the second question. How can it make our coffee better?
Yeah.
By knowing this information. Well, if you know a caturra is very sweet, you want to extract it at a ratio and a time that really pulls the sweetness from the coffee.
Get the sweet spot on the sweetness.
Yes, if you're drinking coffee from Kenya, like an SL or a French Mission or a K7, it's going to be very acidic and winey coffee. Yes. You want to then change the ratio. You want to change your extraction time to actually create a nice cup of coffee from that variety.
Yeah, and that's why to know it. That's why it's important to know, to make it better for you.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, how can we apply this?
How can we apply this?
Is to go out and
experiment.
Try it.
Yes.
Go and buy a caturra or a bourbon or a Margogipe or a pacamare or
go to your local coffee shop and go, hey bro, do you have, like Mr. Barista bro, do you have a bourbon for me to taste?
He's like,
if he goes, what's that? Then maybe organize like a little sit down, coffee with him and chat about it. Like give him this podcast and let him do some research to actually grow in his knowledge.
Yes.
Then making him a better barista at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Then serving you next time you see him an even better cup of coffee.
And that's the thing why we are also doing this, is to get everybody educated, to get the end consumer educated, so that the end consumer can get the coffee shop owner or the roaster to think a bit and like
outside the box.
Why are they challenging me with this? I didn't even know this. So now I have to go and do some research on katwai. I don't even know what is a katwai or whatever. you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So at the end of the day is that the end consumer can also challenge the guys that's bringing the coffee to them, if they don't know about what the end consumer is talking about.
Exactly.
So
we as the end consumers need to challenge the baristas out there.
Definitely.
To understand not just the equipment, but the actual coffees or the product that they actually serve.
So when you ask them, they don't only tell you that's 100% Arabica.
Exactly, because that's just a species.
That's just a species.
But that brings us to the end of the variety episode.
Yes.
We hope you guys enjoyed this. I know we didn't say much, because again in the future we'll break them all down into more
specific,
like vivid or more specific or more
detailed.
Aligned, or I don't know what the word is that we're looking for, but to make it more specific.
Go in deeper.
into depth, yes. So we hope you guys enjoyed this. We really enjoy this we really enjoy bringing this to you. Now, one of the purposes why we do this is because the more we know about coffee, the more we respect it. The more we respect it, the more we appreciate it. And the more we appreciate it, the more we love it.
Definitely.
So we hope you guys go out and find your happy place.
Yeah. I wanted to say go and find a pacamare.
Woo!
But you can get it at Capo Cafe.
That's one of the brands at Salad, yes. Or like that guy is in Tennessee.
Yeah,
if you're from
guys,
America, you know. But so we hope you go out and find your happy place in every single cup. See you guys on the next episode.
Cheers.